What's up everybody, hope all is well. Are you like me, a longtime Overwatch player who somewhat fell out of love with the game in Overwatch 2? The bugs, the balance, the queue times, the battle pass, the store, it was just too much, right? I mean, I still play, but it's not the same. Maybe you're looking at Season 2 hoping it'll be a return to form for the franchise? That's the purpose of this video. Now that we know its details, I'm curious. Can I expect my gameplay experience gets any better? Can I expect my seasonal experience gets any better? Is there enough good here to feel confident Overwatch is on the right path and worth committing to again, or is it still amateur hour at Blizz HQ? Let's find out. So if you're on my channel, you can see I'm a pretty devoted fan, or at least I was during Overwatch 1, but truth be told, my playtime took a nosedive in Overwatch 2. By the end of the first season, I was disappointed, frustrated, and feeling like I just wanted to be done with Overwatch. A big part of that is because I'm a support main and balance for the role is atrocious. The redheaded stepchildren of Overwatch, I'd use the word neglect to describe our plight. Last to get a new hero and the only one locked behind a battle pass, last to get a mythic skin, and worst of all, we got basically zero balance adjustments, even in the face of obvious and extreme shortcomings. Meanwhile, tanks and DPS got buffs that only exacerbated said shortcomings. That support queue times got worse or better, you know, depending on how you look at it, says everything about the role compared to others. I won't say it's awful, not at all, it has its moments, but for me personally, it's a big step back from Overwatch 1, and it seems a lot of people feel that way. Even the new executive producer, Jared Noose. We'll get into that. Additionally, thinking beyond the support role, game balance broke pretty much every mode except competitive role queue. Open queue is filled with tanks, arcade is filled with tanks, and the quick play matchmaker is an abomination. The result, it's impossible to play the game as intended in those modes. And here we are, 2 months in without a peep from the devs on fixing all that. You know, like 95% of the game. It really seems like the only thing they care about is the store and comp. Something I made a video about, I'll link below. Unfortunately, the ranking system as currently implemented makes even comp appear useless to play now. Blizz is artificially decaying ranks purely so players are forced to grind. It's just gross in my opinion and an example of how Blizz has lost their way. I mean, I placed 2 full tiers below my final rank in Overwatch 1, and after a few weeks of grinding to get back where I was, I learned today the artificial decay will probably put me right back down where I started. Like, is this a joke? Blizz is actively incentivizing me to not play. It's insane. The battle pass was another thing that put me off from the game. I feel it's beating a dead horse at this point to talk about just how bad it is or was, but having heroes locked behind it and the lackluster rewards made it really underwhelming. All that grinding, and the only thing I cared about or wanted was the Kiriko skin at 20. We're like 2+ months in, and honest to God truth, I had to ask friends just the other night what a souvenir even is or does. No joke, that's the honest truth. Undoubtedly the worst offering amongst all its competitive peers. Grind and useless filler for profit's sake. I also have a beef with the store. Again, I feel it's beating a dead horse, but even in the privileged position of having adequate finances to indulge to my heart's content, I just couldn't. I felt like the store prices were offensively egregious. That's just me, and I felt like the sales tactics were transparent and predatory. The fake bundle deals, the FOMO, and the locking certain items to certain currency stuff was all just sad, if I'm being honest. Not sad as in lame, sad as in a feeling of sorrow for what Overwatch has come to. And finally, the bugs, last but definitely not least. Holy cow, I've never seen anything this bad from Blizzard. There were countless hero and map bugs, too many to mention, some of which still aren't fixed, but 2 issues in particular stand out to me. First, the ranking system bug that forced some players into bronze. That's just unacceptable, not only because of the damage it does to them, but also because it openly invites cynicism and mistrust of the system going forward. In a competitive game, the ranking system is the holy grail, and Blizz destroyed it, in which case you have to ask yourself, is Overwatch really even a true competitive game? In the second noteworthy bug, the frequency and quantity of heroes that were unavailable. I think pulling heroes for 2+ weeks in some cases is a really bad look and gives players another reason to tune out. So that's where I was at the end of Season 1, a notably less fun gameplay experience, complicated by entirely new engagement systems that seemingly run counter to the spirit of Overwatch and Blizzard's gameplay first mission statement. Speaking for myself, I was having a real hard time feeling the magic I found in the original. And those freaking map pools didn't help Blizzard get rid of those, my gosh. But then Jared Noose came along and said some things, and Season 2 dropped. So, how do I feel at the start of Season 2? Well, the most important thing about the season is that I'm already looking past it, hoping for real change in Season 3 because of the addition of this man, Jared Noose. So, who are you, Mr. Noose?
Program writer for a respectable software company. You have a social security number, you pay your taxes, and you help your landlady carry out her garbage.
So this is actually a huge deal. He's the new executive producer and worked on League of Legends, Destiny 2, and Halo, to name a few. If you do some research, you'll see by all accounts, he appears to be a superstar in the industry. Not so ironically, he's leaving Riot while working on their new top secret MMO, which will no doubt give WoW a run for its money. In November, he issued a dev blog that touched on virtually all the critical pain points we've been feeling. He talked about how the free-to-play model needs some serious work, how queue times are bad, how competitive needs some work, as does hero balance. He talked about what we're doing in Season 2 to try and remedy those things, but most critically, he explained that we probably won't see any major changes until Season 3. And that's the point I want to drive home in all this, because we're going to dig into Season 2 next year, and spoiler alert, my opinions are not pretty, but despite that, I'm understanding that Jared just got here and needs some time to make good things happen. Will it all be lip service? We'll see, but honest truth, from what I learned in researching him, I think he's legit and might make things better. It's strange to me that Aaron has sort of gone back into the shadows and we're looking to an executive producer instead of the game director for help improving the game, but maybe that's what we need, I don't know. So with that understanding, let's temper expectations and talk about Season 2. The most important place to start is with balance changes, because ultimately gameplay is what matters. This will answer my question, will my gameplay experience get any better? Long answer short, as a support, no, it will not. It'll probably be a lot worse. Tanks and DPS got nice buffs, of course, but support's a total joke. I struggle to find the words to describe the disappointment when I saw the Season 2 patch notes. A 9% reduction in Ana's sleep cooldown, Kuriko's ult nerfed, and Mercy, who Blizzard stated explicitly is a certain type of hero for a certain type of player, went ahead and gave her more bullets. Has any Mercy player anywhere ever asked for that? It's such a glaring balance miss, it's almost unbelievable. Blizz said they're working on support reworks. Okay, fine. In the meantime, give us something substantial, and if the changes suck, you can just blow them away with the full reworks. But the reason I don't think support life will get any better in Season 2 is this. At my level, tanks are really the bane of our existence. They might be for everybody, but for support at my level, they are. Here's what usually happens. No one attacks tanks because they have so much sustain, it's pointless, especially if they're being healed. So typically the two tanks run right past each other and attack the supports. Now it's really just two separate 3v2 battles. Enemy tanks and DPS trying to kill our supports, our tank and DPS doing the same to their supports. There are no changes in all the patch notes to improve that situation. In fact, considering the buffs to tanks and DPS, it'll probably be a lot worse. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to sit back shooting things unimpeded like Widowmaker, but an occasional break from the relentless just dive and kill support mentality would be welcomed. Absent that, how about some tools to deal with the tanks? Like Ana's sleep cooldown is 14 seconds, but Winston's jump is 5. I'm helpless. And before anyone says it, just play a mobile support. I know, but come on, be sympathetic to the fact the role has a pathetically small roster. 6+ years in, almost 7 years now, we've got 8 heroes, some of them unavailable due to bugs, and only half of them are mobile heroes. It's just not a viable and reasonable option. And while we're talking about our gameplay experience, let's discuss competitive mode now that Blizz has explained it some. I'm honestly worried the last bastion of good Overwatch is fading away. So here's the deal as I understand it. A season ends and you're, say, Plat 2. Before it rolled over, you had won 5 games and lost, say, 15, but because neither passed the threshold for a rank update, it appears to you that you are, in fact, still Plat 2. But reality is your MMR is changing behind the scenes and Blizz is using that to place you. So you think you're Plat 2, but the system is really placing you as, say, Plat 5. Add on top of that the artificial decay Blizz adds in at the end of each season and you log off one night of Plat 2 and wake up to being Gold 3. But to add insult to injury, this happens to everyone. So in order to climb back into Plat, you aren't beating Gold players to do so. Now you have to beat other Plat players who are also lower than they should be, making the climb back potentially harder and longer. If that's the case, players are already saying you're better off to reach the rank you want, never play again until the next season. At least that way you get the rank rewards you thought you'd receive. And also, let's not forget, Blizz also clarified you won't be rewarded for your highest rank for each category anymore. It's simply the single highest of your current ranks. Again, why play once you feel you've reached your potential max? But whatever, moving on, let's talk about our seasonal experience now. Will it get any better? Well, surprise, yeah, I think it will. The Battle Pass specifically is an improvement. I clicked through and actually found, a few items I want in this one, and maybe it's just me, but aside from the Mythic skin, I feel the quality of all the items has improved somewhat. I still think heroes shouldn't be locked behind the Battle Pass, but lowering the requirements from 55 to 45 was a nice move. We're also getting new login rewards, but unfortunately still no premium currency in the Battle Pass. And while I didn't take time to check, it appears we're getting easier access to more skins now, both in the Battle Pass and seasonal events. Like, I think we get the event skin just for playing them now. I hope so. Speaking of seasonal events, they are coming back with a twist. A new temporary game mode called Battle for Olympus will be sandwiched between Winter Wonderland and Year of the Rabbit. I personally don't care about the seasonal events aside from using them to gauge the future PvE, but the new game mode's a nice addition I know a lot of people will enjoy, so I wanted to mention it. Moving past balance and seasonal stuff, we got the new tank hero, Ramatra, a new map, Shambhala Monastery, whatever. I've had the chance to play it. I've got mixed opinions. The store, I don't expect that will get any better. The bugs, I do expect they will get a little better, and that's pretty much it. So that's where I am going into Season 2. It'll probably be a less fun gameplay experience, blunted by a slightly better seasonal experience. It'll still be rough for supports, but at least there's enough change here to make it feel different, and that alone can be exciting for a week or two. So, final thoughts. Do I think I'll play a lot in Season 2? No, I do not. It's pretty much a write-off for me, but I don't say that in a nasty way. I'll play, of course, and have some fun in doing so. But between balance, map pools, and pretty much every mode being busted one way or another, including comp now, I'm tempering my expectations. I just don't see much to fall back in love with. Yet. Instead, I've got my eyes squarely focused on the support reworks and Season 3. That'll really be a defining moment for me. Look, I'll probably always play Overwatch, but to stay as my main game, the one I pour hundreds or thousands of hours into, I need better. On all fronts, but on the gameplay front especially, I need something more. The support role needs the kind of love and attention DPS got in Overwatch 1 and tanks got in Overwatch 2. This is all just my opinion based on my own little world. I know many of you love it and think it's better than Overwatch 1 in every conceivable way. That's fair, to each their own, and I'm honestly happy for you. But I think it's reasonable to say, hey Blizz, you swung the pendulum so far in one direction to attract a new crowd. How about we nudge it back towards the type of game the original longtime fans loved? Between the balance and push mode dominating the map pool, it feels like deathmatch at best and free-for-all at worst. Now, this is going to sound harsh, but I say it in a tough love way. Overwatch has lost its identity. What is this game? A serious competitive shooter? Well, then fix competitive mode and apply some proper hero balance. Is it a casual FTP team shooter? Well, then fix the matchmaker in arcade and open queue so those modes aren't ruined by tank-dominated comps. Or are you trying to be both? Well, then fix it all. Look, I do still play and enjoy myself here and there. It's not outright bad, but it could be so much better. It was so much better. But since Overwatch 2 launched, it's been one stumble after another. I thought the move to FTP was to generate sufficient revenue to do both PvP and PvE simultaneously. Then why does it feel like you've got interns managing game and hero balance? Why are you leaving it like this for so long? Players have told you since early betas, supports are a problem. At least the non-mobile supports are a problem, and since then, you've balanced in a way that makes that problem worse. It's crazy. But, okay, deep breath. I like ending on a high note. Despite these issues, people are still playing and having fun, and that says a lot. If you check Twitter or forums or YouTube, it seems like people are just freaking out right now, saying this is the worst state the game's ever been in, and I honestly agree. But even with that, it's still being played. It's still pretty good, and I'd recommend it to anyone. Just with a huge caveat, and that caveat's the unfortunate part. So how about this, Blizz? Throw your players a bone and start rebuilding some goodwill. Get rid of map pools and give us a game mode selector. Empower us to play the things we like. It's probably just the flip of a switch for you, totally free, and you'd have tens of millions of players breathing a big sigh of relief. Oh, and also, I hate to say it, but give supports CC. It's the only way this guy agrees, right?
Yeah.
And with that, I'm done. Appreciate taking the time. Take care of one another, and I will see you soon.
I need backup. Got there?